Welcome back to the part of this F1 25 My Team Career Mode. This is part number 31 today for the Season 2 finale at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And it's going to cap off what has been a roller coaster of a season for us and also for the championship protagonists of Leclerc, Russell, Verstappen, Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes. And as Season 2s go for our team, it's probably been one of the most challenging Season 2s we've had in a My Team series period since it began in F1 2020. You know, Season 2 has consistently been the year where we've actually been able to challenge for a first championship. But in contrast with this year's game, the new My Team mode, the changes they've made, the balancing they've made to, you know, the way the upgrading works, etc. It's been a season where we've had to accept we can't go for the championship, but we're building to that. And I think next season will be hopefully the first year in the series where we can go for our first World Championship. But that building this season hasn't meant we've not had successes this season. We've had, you know, started off with an early podium with Jenson Button, his first podium for the team early doors at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and then would come a second back-to-back podium with Tim Tramnitz, which was so exciting, but little did we know what was to come, as of course we went to the Canadian Grand Prix down the line and got a historic 16th Grand Prix win for Jenson Button at the place where he had that infamous, unreal win at the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, and we did it in a similar fashion, changeable conditions, and we won the race in style because of that. And what a moment. That was really the unfinished business of maintaining Jenson Button in this lineup for this season ticked off the board. And then obviously later on at the back end of this season, an even crazier moment it feels like, in a heavy rain Las Vegas Grand Prix, we secured Tim Tramnitz, our F3 driver icon, a race win in some of the most challenging conditions you've ever seen. And that's really capped off what has been a really memorable partnership between Jenson Button and Tim Tramnitz. But going into the next season, there are some choices to be made with our driver lineup, and I think one of them is getting made for us now.
It is the best job in the world, but even with the best job in the world, you need a rest. And I'm excited to do something next year that's completely different to Formula One, living by my schedule, doing what I want to do. I can wake up late on a Sunday morning when the Australian Grand Prix is going on, which is really exciting. But I still will be current. I will still be doing work in the simulator. I'll be at a few of the races, but from a very different position as an ambassador. But I have a really good relationship, and I want to continue that relationship, and I think I have a lot to give in or out of the car, or both. So yeah, this is an exciting opportunity, and I think it's the best decision.
So we go into this final race of Season 2, and this is going to be Jenson Button's final race with us for now, as he alluded to, as there's options for the future. But right now, Button will be stepping back into more of a consultant role, as we alluded to, you know, after we got that win at the Canadian Grand Prix. That was the goal. That was what I still wanted to do with Button. We couldn't do it in Season 1, so I really wanted to keep him on because I was so serious about getting that goal, achieving that additional race win. And we know we've gone on to get a further race win at the Qatar GP just last episode as well. So we're adding to the tally and going into this final race for this Season 2. I want to try and add one more race win to Button's tally if I can help it. And that's obviously in the backdrop of a championship fight happening at the forefront between George Russell and Charles Leclerc. Verstappen mathematically is still in there, but realistically, it is going to be a fight between Russell and Leclerc, Ferrari v Mercedes. And then in the constructors, you know, can Mercedes hold on to P1? What can Red Bull do, if anything? And with the pace Ferrari have shown, could they actually do the unthinkable? Could they come back from such a terrible start to the season and actually defend their Constructors' Championship from Season 1 and overturn and go P3 to P1? Based on the pace, I actually would bet they can, but we're about to find out as we go towards this race weekend. Our attention now goes to the R&D side of things, adapting parts, of course, and also still debating further facility upgrades where we can. The pit crew training, that's a big one. We've had a lot of slow pit stops, so I'm finally able to purchase that upgrade, because we actually couldn't because I didn't have a slot available in the personnel side of things. So now we can, so that's going to be something that will come in for next season, basically. So hopefully there's a reduction in slow pit stops, because that definitely probably cost us a button podium in Vegas. It's probably cost us more points, but obviously we've had this overwhelming performance upgrade to the car as of late. So it's kind of ironed out those issues, but if that wasn't the case, we would have probably felt it and noticed it a lot more. But there's not a lot of time in the activity timeline from the last race to the next, so just a couple of activities there. Just taking a look at corporate before we go into the final race, really, just to kind of get an overview of the season. You know, quite interesting to see, you know, how much money we've earned and the exponential rise of money in this team since June. I don't really know what the reasoning for that inflection point of an increase of earnings. I guess maybe actually, to be honest, that's probably fan rating 5, isn't it? I reckon. And then cost cap wise, we're obviously spending a lot more than we did last season, but still nowhere near the cost cap limit, which is pretty crazy, because I feel like we're putting ourselves in a really good position already and hopefully continuing that momentum into Season 3. But, you know, we'll see where the spending goes in the future and, you know, how that kind of all plays out long term in the series, as we do have one upgrade into Abu Dhabi. We're going to give it to Tim Tramnitz. It's the fuel upgrade, so it won't make a massive, massive difference in terms of out-and-out performance. But we do confirm then in the vehicle comparison standings, Ferrari go into this race on paper as having a slight edge over everyone, and that's why, and based on the form as well they've had, that's why I'm actually quite confident from an outside perspective, onlooker. I think Ferrari will overturn everyone and somehow amazingly defend their Constructors' Championship. McLaren, Red Bull and ourselves level pegging. Mercedes are on the back foot. They're leading the Constructors. Russell's leading the championship, and yet they're slower than us. So really, the cards are stacked against Russell and Mercedes. Like, they're going to have to really do some great legwork, and Ferrari just need to not pull a Ferrari. They need to act as how they did in Season 1 and actually execute, be consistent, and just simply allow Leclerc to perform at his best, as he has done multiple times this season, to still have himself in the championship fight. As we, outside of that fight, we're just going for the best result we can. For Tramnitz, I'm hoping, as an AI, and then for us, driving as Jenson Button for one final time, potentially, in the series. Let's go to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Welcome along, everybody. It's the fastest day of the week, qualifying Saturday, and we're here in Abu Dhabi.
It was overall a really strong qualifying for the team last time out in Qatar. I know it's a very different circuit, but I feel like there was a bit of, you know, difference in Qatar. We saw off the back of Vegas getting the win with Tramnitz. That you saw that difference in Tramnitz as an AI. A lot of you guys noticed and were impressed by his performance in the sprint race as well. Maybe fell away a bit in the full race, but that's still obviously a lot of learning to do. He is now 70 rated, so there is, you know, still a bit of that gap there. But in a short and sweet sort of format, you saw he does have a bit of raw pace out there, and he's showing that in qualifying as well in recent races. So hopefully that continues with him, as obviously we're taking care of Button's side of things. And in the first part of qualifying, well, Tramnitz has actually gone quicker than us in P3. We're up there in P4. So this is going to be a real problem for the championship contenders and the teams also contending, because, you know, if both myself and Tramnitz, we're up there, we're in the mixer, that's just more cars you have to worry about overtaking. Maybe a car that you need to try and overtake to clinch the championship. So this is going to make things real juicy. Even though we're not in the title fight, we could directly affect it and kind of get in the mixer. But of course, I will just be going the maximum result, and I'm hoping that Tramnitz can also try and aim for as high as possible to end the season in a real strong way, as Q2 is going to plan, and both myself and Tim will be getting through into the last part of qualifying. Both McLarens are through. Even Lance Stroll made it in, showing McLaren's genuine return to pace. Tsunoda does well for Williams to get in. Albon P11. So Williams have got a bit better than they were in that period where they just dropped off a lot when they dropped to the bottom of that R&D pack. But it's a little bit too late. And of course, we have just ascended to a much higher place now as we go P7. And I'm disappointed at P7. That's how much we should be aiming higher. And we are going to try and aim higher as we start our final flying lap here, down in P8, but already a 10th up, and we're gonna actually stick with this entire lap because this will be Button's final lap in anger for a while in this series. As we drive as him, it was a much better hairpin entry and exit. We tightened up the left-hander to get the exit, which is what I didn't do on the first flying lap. I tried to be a bit too eager on the entry by braking too late, and instead I opened up the exit, which is, you know, obviously the classic thing. Slow in, fast out, and then into that chicane you saw we gained a further 2/10 or even 3/10 on the exit now, just by being a lot cleaner later on the brakes there, but then making sure we didn't go over the bump, because on the first flying lap I basically jumped the curb at the chicane, so that lost us a bit of time, and so that gets us a purple second sector as we build this lap up, and we're feeling the momentum, we're feeling the energy around the circuit as we lose a little bit of time under the hotel section, gain it back with a bit of ERS usage. Now into the final corner, kiss the apex, plant the power on exit, battery use across the line.
Yes, excellent lap. We're all very pleased with that one. Nice work. Come on, I'll see you back in the pits.
And that is, oh wow, that is the dream way to end this season. It's a front row lockout. What? For the first time ever, this team gets a front row lockout. Ahead of Verstappen and Hamilton. How juicy. And then Leclerc and Russell down in 6th and 8th, the two top in the championship. This is certainly going to make this last race very intriguing. Let's go to the grid.
It's time then for one final race in this year's Formula One World Championship. 2010 saw 4 drivers in contention for the title coming into this race, with Sebastian Vettel prevailing to become the youngest world champion to date. Is there one last sting in the tail awaiting us today? Well, it's time to find out here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Jenson Button lines up on pole position, and Tim Tramnitz completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri and Russell, Norris, Leclerc, Tsunoda and Lance Stroll, Albon, Sainz, Esteban Ocon and Colapinto, Antonelli, Lawson, Jack Doohan and Paul Aaron, Bortoletto, Hadjar, Hulkenberg and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. So it's the final race of the season. We've had a brilliant time this campaign, but as one team principal told us a bit earlier, today we finish this campaign, tomorrow we start the new one.
Absolutely, Crofty. Before you go into the long winter break, you want to show the rest of the world how good you are. The championship's done and dusted. This one is for your own personal pride.
If you go away from this weekend having not given it everything, you're going to be devastated and disappointed for months. So let's get out there and give it a really strong finish and leave it all out on the track.
Oh wow, that was actually that was quite a touching message from Mark for once. He actually spoke very eloquently there about this final race in 2026. I cannot believe it is a front row lockout. What a guy, Tim Tramnitz, to match us pretty damn well. Of course, I knew my lap was going well after sector 2 with purple. I was hoping it was going to be up there, but I didn't expect pole position, to be honest. But I more so didn't expect Tramnitz to be up here, just showing he is going from strength to strength in this season, ending it on a real high here. Verstappen third, he is mathematically still in the championship fight, so it's the best place to be if he can be on the front row, so maybe there is still half a chance for Verstappen to do something. He is the reigning champion. Could he become a 6-time world champion by the end of this one, or will it be Russell or Leclerc's first Drivers' World Championship? And will it be Mercedes, Red Bull or Ferrari taking the constructors in 2026? Either way, I know what we're doing. We're just trying to maximize everything and have a bit of fun in Jenson Button's final race. And it's from pole position as we look towards the 5 red lights, and we're underway for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2026. It's a great getaway from us from pole. Tramnitz, he's fighting Verstappen. He's still trying to maintain second, but Verstappen is relentless and gets up into second. He's doing what he needs to do, remember. He needs to aim also just for the highest position he can, and then he's got to pray that something happens to Leclerc and George Russell. But Tramnitz may just happen back to Max Verstappen. Oh my day. I never thought I'd see the day our F3 driver is actually attacking the 5-time reigning world champion. He couldn't quite get the move done, but he's going to have another bite of the cherry. He's going to line it up. No DRS, remember, just battery use, but the car is there for him, and Tramnitz is going to power back through for second place. He's actually re-overtaken the Red Bull fair and square and reasserted ourselves as a 1-2 position in this race, as it's Russell in P6, Leclerc P7. So the Ferraris made up a couple of positions. I think Russell stayed put of where he qualified, but now this is very juicy, separated by 1 point. Remember, Russell and Leclerc, they are now next to each other on the track. This is going to get very, very tense as the race goes on, seeing where they end up, and I'm hoping that myself and Tim Tramnitz can now work together to try and pull away and maybe try and block off the top 2 positions. And to that effect, into the hairpin on lap 2, Tramnitz closing up to us. I'm not going to put up too much of a fight because it's on our best interest today to work as a team, let him overtake. Maybe we can go back for the repass on the very next lap. Let's see, but he flies by us with DRS. You saw on the bottom right, wasn't deploying battery, just wanting to save it and basically use his slipstream now to recuperate some of that energy, just to make sure we can at least pull away from the Red Bulls. And so trying to work as a unit if we can, but it's going to be difficult because in a straight line, obviously Tramnitz as an AI is going to actually have a slight advantage, maybe actually in a weird way, as it's Hamilton versus Piastri up the road. It's a very awkward camera angle. Thank you very much, F125, from all 3 cars going to nose cam. Let's just switch to the T cam, shall we? As we now watch Hamilton again trying to make the overtake on Piastri. Russell pulling out as well, and Leclerc also weaving about. All of a sudden, this race has exploded into life as Russell tried to go around the outside, couldn't quite make it, but what an on-board shot from Leclerc, seeing Hamilton make the move, but then all of a sudden Russell trying to follow him through there was very, very exciting, I must say. And Leclerc as well moving about. You know, it's nice to see the AI always dynamically now shimming and shaking, actually wanting to make an overtake. As on lap 6 then, we are looking to close back up to Tramnitz and make this pass. We have a little look on the inside. We go to the racing line and try and go for the real tight switchback line here, but I just didn't measure it as well as I thought on the right-hander, because I thought if I tried to be too aggressive, there would have been a chance to make contact. So instead we stay patient and vigilant and make the move instead on the inside into sector 3, and we're back up into P1. But you can see on the top left, unfortunately, unfortunately, Verstappen has followed us. So I tried to work with Tim to break away. We did break away from Piastri, but now Tramnitz and Verstappen are pressurizing me. So it feels like the gloves are off a little bit, and Tramnitz just wants to take the lead, and I've got not too much to defend with. We've got very little battery, and so I have to give up deploying overtake mode because we're down to like 7%. So Verstappen just walked past me, and now it's Verstappen v Tramnitz for the second time in this race. And Verstappen, I mean, that's very impressive. He's just basically made a double overtake from P3 to P1, but once again, Tramnitz, the unreal pace he has in this section to go round the outside, and this is going to be side by side with Verstappen again. What am I watching here? This is unreal stuff. Timmy Tramnitz up to P1 on lap 7, and he's again fair and square just overtaking Verstappen on his own accord. Unbelievable. They're going to carry on fighting though on lap 8, and the Red Bull showing some relentless pace as Verstappen knows he just has to keep pushing every single lap and hope there's chaos behind as Hamilton and Piastri again swap positions. Russell and Leclerc close up. Those four seem inseparable in this race as we now close up on Verstappen. Verstappen has not actually managed to attack Tramnitz, and instead we've had the opportunity to sling one past Verstappen. I think we caught him napping a little bit because we went to the left-hand side and he almost put us towards the wall in a way where he basically didn't know we were there. So I think Verstappen was too busy trying to save battery potentially with the DRS on Tramnitz, and we just saved battery, of course, being behind them both for 2 laps that was. And so we've made the repass, but now we're in the danger zone. Tramnitz has broken DRS, and we have no way of getting DRS of our own, and we get minced by Hamilton and Verstappen. This is quite interesting, though. Remember, it's not only Button's last race in Formula 1, maybe. It's Hamilton's as well. Hamilton is retiring from the sport after this one, and for one last time, we get a classic under the floodlights. Hamilton versus Verstappen, and Hamilton is absolutely cooking. Since he announced his retirement, he has been on form, and I think one of you guys said that in the comments below. There's a weird thing in the F1 game lately where they announce a retirement and they just become driving gods again. It's like their focus just goes to 99. The pressure of being in the sport is lifted, and they are just driving. You know what? They're flying. They're absolutely flying without any constraints. As we now look for the repass on Verstappen, we showed you the tyre wear though. It's not looking too great. These mediums are screaming out. They've been tortured for 11 laps, but we need to carry on because we need to try and get to a certain point in the race where we go onto the hards, and that is going to be the strategy then. On this same lap as we are fighting Verstappen then, this was what was happening further down the road. Leclerc closing on Russell, and there's you can see us fighting Verstappen up ahead, but this is Leclerc directly fighting Russell for position. This could decide the World Championship. I'm not being dramatic, this really could. Leclerc going for the pass, but Russell comes back at him. There was a bit of elbowing going on the exit of the chicane through the right-hander, and a bit of contact as well, but Leclerc will remain firm and finally get the overtake. The Ferrari leads the Merc, and Leclerc, as it stands, would become the Drivers' World Champion and overtake Russell in the standings. But there is still so long to go in this race. Lap 12 of 29, and it looks like there's going to be a development for P1 because Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time champion, round the outside with ease on RF3 Junior, and he takes the lead of the race. Is Hamilton going to win the last race of his career, is it? Or can we try and do that ourselves, driving as JB, or will it be Tramnitz? I mean, so far, Tim's been right up there, but I suspect now the tyre wear, as I'm feeling it, surely he's got to feel it as well. We saw in Qatar, he fell away once tyre wear came into play. As we try and gain on him, Verstappen's been invited in because of my little faux pas on the exit. We're going to have to try and defend the Dutchman whilst also trying to line up this pass on Tramnitz. We're having to be very careful though through the corners because now you can see the tyre icon is brick orange, so Generally, that means it's in a bad way, and actually I've taken that as my time to come in on lap 13. We nearly understeered into the wall. That would have been incredibly embarrassing. Thankfully, we didn't. We've come in. We've got a couple of cars, just a couple of cars, joining us and following us through. Piastri's in, Russell as well, the Ferrari of Leclerc. So both Russell and Leclerc come in on this same lap as the final pit stop in the season is an excellent one, 2.4, and that's without the pit crew training upgrade. So thank you very much, team. Very welcomed, and we're going to come out in a decent amount of clean air in P10. But yeah, Leclerc and Russell, they've both pit on this same lap, and I think Russell's actually lost out of position to Piastri. So it's now Leclerc, Piastri, Russell in the order. So as we said at the start of the race, things are stacked against Mercedes. They're not quick on paper, and now they don't have track position. Things are going towards Leclerc, and things are going towards Ferrari, as on lap 15, the pit stops are made for plenty of people, apart from Tsunoda, who is having a bit of a glory run on the hard tyres, still leading the way then, yet to pit, I believe. Button, we're in second place with Button, Lando in third in the McLaren. It's like, wait, hang on, what? Leclerc's P4, Hamilton P5. The undercut was incredibly powerful. I mean, to be fair, I don't know why I'm surprised, because we're in second, Tsunoda's yet to pit, so we're effectively in P1 after Tsunoda pits. There's a spin! It's Verstappen! Verstappen spun it in the finale! It's all over for him! Surely, red flag! Oh my days, Tsunoda! Tsunoda's going to be leading this race proper! Here, him and Williams, they've pulled a blinder. But Max Verstappen, the 5-time champion, it's been a difficult season. And he is cracked, uncharacteristically, under pressure on cold, hard tyres. And he's spun it. But annoyingly, look who he's held up. He's held up Tramnitz. And so Tramnitz and him will be down the order on the restart from this red flag. So thank you for nothing, Verstappen. Thank you for nothing in terms of our teammate. But in terms of this race, well, things have just taken a very sharp turn towards it purely being all about Leclerc and Russell. But really, also, it's just about if Leclerc and Ferrari bottle it from here on now, because both Ferraris are in the top 4. Russell's down the order. We're now all on the same tyres. You've got Tsunoda and Lando in the mixer here. So there's a couple of cars also in between the Ferrari and the Merc. So this is, well, it's all setting up for us, hopefully, to try and go for the race win, because surely we can go and overtake Tsunoda here as we go to 5 red lights for the second time tonight in Yas Marina. It's a slow start for Tsunoda. We get the good jump, but round the outside, where on earth has that McLaren come from? Lando Norris, what a start for him. On the outside, it's a double overtake for the Brit, and the McLaren leads the way. Tsunoda remains in second, we're in third, but we're going to try and change that on the very next lap, going to the hairpin. We're almost trying to go around the outside of the Japanese driver in the Williams, our main era defining rivals. Well, we're thoroughly thrashing them now at the end of this season. We're up to second place, and now we've got clean air to go chasing after the McLaren. But I've just noticed Lando, he's on medium tyres, so that's why he got such a good start. So McLaren had a set of mediums to go, whereas most of us had to go to another set of hard tyres to the end of the race, as Hamilton has now made the overtake on Tsunoda. So actually on the restart, Hamilton's jumped Leclerc. So now all of a sudden Leclerc's the second Ferrari again. Hamilton's had an excellent start off the red flag, and he's the one in third, and Leclerc's having to clear Tsunoda, but he doesn't need to worry. Russell is all the way down in 10th place. So Leclerc, he's made the pass, sure, to P4, but he can relax. Like, it is pretty much assured. I'm sure from this point, 9 laps to go, Leclerc is heading towards his first Drivers' World Championship. And we're just going to have to wait and see what the maths works out to if Ferrari can pull off some sort of blinder P3 to P1 in the Constructors. Is on lap 20 on board with Tramnitz. There was plenty of action going on. Piastri, I think he's got a car issue, but Tramnitz goes for 2 overtakes here. He attempts to overtake one of the championship protagonists. The German is getting in the middle control of the German team's business as he overtakes Russell. What is going on? What is going on in this final race? Tramnitz, he's cooking. It's such a shame he got blocked by Verstappen for the red flag, because otherwise he would have been flying. He would have been guaranteed at least top 5, as it's Leclerc versus Hamilton now. Leclerc going for glory. He wants to take the championship whilst being on one of the steps of the podium at least, as he's tried to go for the move, but Hamilton is still fighting him. Lap 22, it's a retirement for the Italian in the Haas. Kimi Antonelli pulls alongside. Is he going to be making an interesting team move later into Season 3, I wonder? You're going to have to find out in the pre-season video, but that retirement is going to bring out a late safety car. So this, again, might make things just a little bit more interesting at the end of this race. This gives Russell just a little gem of hope, but he's still got a mountain to climb, because clearly that Mercedes is just not competitive anymore. And you saw why on the R&D chart. They're slower than us. They're slower than 4 different teams. So it's no wonder why he's down there struggling to overtake traffic, as Lando Norris seems to be the second McLaren of recent times to slam on the brakes under the safety car. Is he going to get a penalty? Is he going to FIA? Are we going to call that up? So on the restart, we're going to have 5 laps, 5 full racing laps. Leclerc is third. So right now he's sitting in a very nice podium position to celebrate his World Championship. What can Russell do? Verstappen's out of it. Red Bull are out of it. It's really a case of also now, can Mercedes at least get enough points to still win the Constructors at least? Or will it be back-to-back Constructors wins for Ferrari? And then away from all of that, for us, we're in second here, right behind P1. We're going for it. We're going for it. This is going to be for all the marbles as we go green here. Can we win this race? We're going to go for the dive immediately. We try and catch Norris a little bit out of shape. He gives us the room, to be fair, but we just couldn't quite get it fully down the inside. But I felt like we had to go for an aggressive early little move just to try and catch him napping. And oh my God, though, he catches us unawares as I couldn't decide what to do as Leclerc drifts his way through the hairpin trying to make the move on us. So that was my bad. We got it all crossed up a little bit behind the McLaren for the second time, for the second attempt, and now we're having to defend Leclerc to try and just maintain track position for P2, because if the Ferraris overtake me, I feel like they will stay ahead of us because they're that quick. The only thing we've got going for us right now is the dirty air we're giving them, and then also if Hamilton attacks Leclerc, that will then obviously give me breathing room to just go for this move on Lando Norris as he defends the inside for turn 1. It's an unorthodox place to make an overtake really around this track. You don't really see it often, but we've done it as we're side by side with our fellow compatriot, and we commit fully full throttle on the right hand side and we get up into P1. But maybe that was just the McLaren giving up the position on purpose to now get the more advantageous DRS on lap 26. We are going to be a sitting duck, and the papaya car breezes by. I don't even bother using overtake mode, and now Leclerc comes knocking. Again, we have to defend the Ferrari. The Ferrari might go for the move on the McLaren. It's 3 wide for P1. Is this contact made between the Ferrari and the McLaren, and then us and the McLaren as we drifted our way through? And Leclerc, he is not driving like a man who just needs to do the bare minimum to win the championship. He is driving desperately for some reason. I think he just really wants the cherry on the top of the cake for winning the World Championship, but maybe he should take a leaf out of Alan Prost's book and just do the maths and do the minimum and secure it safely, as for the second time tonight, Tramnitz is going to overtake a Mercedes car. Carlos Sainz, though, this time with damage compared to Russell, which was a fair and square move, but Sainz with damage, Tramnitz gets up into P8, so it's actually a really great recovery from Tim. He was down in P12 at the red flag restart. And since then, obviously with the safety car as well, he's recovering. Second last lap here. Ocon going for a move on Tsunoda, who was in P1 at one point, and Tramnitz goes for the double dive. He's overtaken the Williams. Can he get the Haas on the exit? They make contact. Ocon has the racing line, but Tramnitz now has the DRS to close. So he's made one overtake. Is he going to go for the second round the outside? No, not quite. Can he try and loop back round, I wonder? Not quite, not quite. But Tramnitz is giving it everything to try and get P6. That would be an amazing recovery. If he can go from P12 to P6 in only a third of this race, that shows, if it wasn't for that red flag, blocking, I think Tramnitz could have been on for a top 4, maybe even a double podium here today, as we're still in second place, of course, as we go on to the final lap of this race, this season, and maybe Jenson Button's career here, and definitely Hamilton's career, as he is retiring out of Formula 1. This is going to be quite an emotional last lap here, but can we add to the emotion? Can we add to the aura farming that we're trying to do here today by getting that elusive final race win to add to Jenson Button's tally? Leclerc, the champion to be, is still coming at me at a rate of knots. As we go defensive a little bit, we get it all crossed up as we're trying to break as late as we can. And Tramnitz gets the overtake. What a man. He's up to P6. Can we now follow suit and overtake our rival as we gain, and we're going to try and go for the outside. It's not going to work. We cut in for the switchback from right to left. Get the tighter run. Tuck up behind the McLaren. Commit through the right-hander. But Lando is going to outbrake us round the outside. It's going to be neck and neck on the last lap, the last sector. It's the Battle of Britain again, from Qatar to Abu Dhabi, and we're going to win this one out and bring it home for Jenson Button to win this final race.
Jenson, that was unbelievable. Great job. Mix one.
What can I say, guys? Oh, you have built me a monster of a car. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this.
Well, it's certainly been an incredible year for Formula 1, and our drivers have all pushed themselves this season, making it one of the most compelling years of racing in history. There can only be one champion, however, and here they are now, our new Formula 1 World Drivers' Champion. The checkered flag is out, and it waves for your winner today, Jenson Button.
Well, a great victory today for the final race of the season, and you take that energy with you through the end of the year, through the winter break, and it's important because your team lives off of that. You want them to deliver you the best possible car for the start of next season's campaign.
Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula 1.
It's an emotional final race for Button and aarava Archer Racing, but wow, GG's Charles Leclerc. First time Drivers' World Champion. I can't remember even in the F1 game the last time Leclerc's won a championship. So this is actually quite a sight to see. Leclerc finally winning one, even in the F1 game. And Ferrari, I mean, what the helly? What the helly? They have gone from P3 to P1. They have defended their Constructors' Championship. They've done the back-to-back Season 1 to Season 2. Unreal. They're doing what they can never do in real life, for many years, as obviously we secured P4 by a mile, and we got Jenson Button, actually, if you've noticed. We got him P4 in the Drivers' Championship, which is unbelievable, actually, when you think about it. P4 in the Drivers' Championship, the only guys higher were the 3 guys mathematically in the title fight. So that is one hell of a season to maybe round it off for now. But guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Next time out, it's going to be the pre-season for Season 3. Till then, goodbye.